There you are.
Yay! It's a weird angle.
You don't have bad angles, George.
I do.
No.
It's the front angle and the back and left and right. Those are my bad angles.
I went to trim my facial hair today and didn't think that I had it set quite as short as I did, so I have nothing left. I'm pretty irritated about it. It'll take a while before I stop looking like a baby again.
It's always fun when that happens. All right.
Hey, Troy. Troy says hello to all.
Cough in everybody's face. That's the sign of a pro, like, streamer. It's when you just take time to cough in everybody's ears. There's the Nikon. This doesn't work as well as I had hoped.
Well, maybe you just got to play with the settings some.
Maybe. I did just, like, set it up 15 minutes ago.
You know who would know a lot about that camera is Destiny.
That's because it's hers.
It makes sense.
I stopped by a store that was having a Black Friday sale, and they had a wide-angle lens, and I told Rachel, I was like, let's buy this for Destiny.
Hello, Leah and Dexter Mason from West Virginia.
So there's one cool thing that happened. All of those collector's editions from John's books came in, and they're getting sent out tomorrow. Yay! And I have, like, this stockpile of signed prints now. Like, look at this. This is nuts, dude. Never in my life thought I would have that much crap signed by John just sitting on my desk. I got to give it all away.
John has been very generous with these.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
It is. It's very, very cool.
So anyway, what do we want to talk about today?
18 viewers. So I was mentioning earlier, Laura and I went to Charleston. So I've been stuck on the stocks that were at Towne Landing forever, and I haven't had an opportunity to actually go check it out. And everybody that I asked has said, yeah, they were definitely there. They're not there anymore. I don't know where they used to be. And so that's been all the information I could get. So I was like, fine, we're gonna go. That's gonna be our goal. And hold on, I'm gonna turn my volume down. It's just really, really loud from you.
Yeah, well, I was adjusting my gain. Is it still really loud from me?
Yeah, but it might just be on my end. My volume might just be too high.
Is it louder for me?
Yeah, getting a lot of background noise.
All right, we'll just turn that way down. I can't tell.
That's okay.
Maybe I'll just turn myself down because I'm hitting red. Maybe that's better.
Yeah, I turned my volume about halfway down, and you adjusted yours, so now I can hear without going crazy.
I mean, my voice has to be the loudest in the room, Bradley. That's the way it works.
I'm okay with that. So we're like, let's go to Charleston Landing and figure this out. And the reason for this is that line beneath the bar that binds. And there's nothing in Charleston that is a bar that binds that fits better than a stock, which, if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's this public display, like you got caught stealing, and they put your hands, sometimes your feet, in the little wooden structure, and you're on display for the public so that everybody knows that you're a thief. Yeah. So we came across a video on YouTube of some photographs from a family trip a lady took back in the early 80s. I think it was like 81, 82, something like that. And in this photos of this trip to Charleston was a picture of these kids in the stock. And we found out from her that was at Charleston Landing. So we took a visit there, and lucky for us. And so we expected Charleston, let me back it up a little bit. We expected Charleston Landing to be like White Point Garden, where it's just open and you could go see the stuff, and it's not. It's more like at across from Fort Raleigh. Yeah, what's it called? Festival Park. Yeah, it's more like Festival Park. You have to pay to get in. There's historic sites, and then they have like an interpreter of history that kind of has artifacts on displays and tells you about what life would have been back then. But lucky for us, the day after Thanksgiving, which is when we went on Friday, it was free day for all South Carolina state parks. They called it Opt Outside Day. So we did not have to pay to get in, which was great. And I do not know if you had to pay to get in back in the day or not. But it is now an admission thing. But anyway, so you walk this trail. It's like the history trail or whatever they call it. And they have like a small zoo type area where they have a big black bear. They have a puma. They have bald eagle and some other animals. So that was cool and fun to walk around and see. Had nothing to do with the puzzle, but it was a nice surprise because I like big cats. Pumas are one of my favorites. So it's cool to get to see a puma. What was really cool was the puma was stalking little kids that walked by. Like it would, like if you imagine like a house cat, whenever you're like playing with it with a toy, and it gets down and it starts wiggling its butt and then it runs after it. Exact same thing. The puma got behind a log and it's like watching the kids walk by and then like wiggle his butt and then took off towards the where the kid was standing. It was pretty funny. So that was fun to watch. But anyway, so we walked around, we followed the history trail, and lo and behold, there are stocks still there. They are not gone. It looks like they've been rebuilt. And comparing the photo from that video to where they are now, it looks to me as if they weren't moved, that they are where they used to be still. So that was interesting to find that out because everybody else that I've ever talked to is like, they're not there anymore. We don't know where they are. So it was nice to find out that they are still there, and it looks like they are exactly where they used to be. The problem with that area is so Charleston Landing is huge. It's not like White Point Garden. You can't walk from one into another in just a few minutes. It took us, probably 4 hours to walk around the park and take in everything. Wow. So it's a huge park. So I don't see, and there wasn't alternate ways to get in unless you came in by boat from the marsh, which I just don't see happening. So just pure logistics, I don't see that as being a quick come in, bury, and get out sort of thing. However, what was interesting was with the line White House, was it White House at hand or something like that?
White House close at hand?
Yeah, White House close at hand. So there is a fantastic historical house close to where those stocks are that was actually just, what do you call it, restored? There's another word for that, but that was just redone in 1981. And opened for people to, come around and see. And it's actually the house that funded, the people that own that house is what funded Charleston Landing in the beginning anyways. Like the people that lived there that made it a historical site. So it fit really well with that. And they had a fountain in front of the house with birds in it, with cast iron birds. And those benches that you like so much, George, were all over the park. And some of them still had the bar on the bottom that you liked for Bar the Vines. Yeah, which is rare to find the bar still there on those benches.
Those are in a decent amount of places in the city. I guess they're just like, that's the design the city settled on for all their benches. They're in a lot. Seems to be the case. Yeah. So was there anything there like any? So we've got water, we've got birds, we've got White House, we got Bar that Binds. Well, what else? Mm-hmm. What else there? Was there anything? So we have nothing.
I have nothing for named after him, unless you're just taking that as a line for the Charleston area. That people have mentioned before, like just to get you to the area.
Most people don't have a real solid thing for that.
Yeah. Nothing really solid for Eighth Scene that I could come up with. No. Yeah. So we went from there and we went to Marion Square because last time you and I were there, Marion Square looked pretty promising.
Yeah.
And I kind of Laura and I walked around Marion Square. The Starbucks closed at like 6:00 and we got to Marion Square at like 6:04. It was devastating. So we walked around and I fully expected them to have a Christmas tree up in the center of Marion Square because whenever we were there last, it looked like that's what they did. They like set up a Christmas tree display there. They had nothing. True. It was the park was really dark. There were no lights. Nothing was going on. So I was really surprised. It looked like they just had maybe their parade earlier that day too, because there were porta johns freaking everywhere, and all the parking around Marion Square was blocked off for a special event. Oh. So I'm assuming they had their parade the same day. I don't know.
They have the rest of their Christmas stuff up in town?
Not really. There were white light. So there were palm trees randomly wrapped in white lights. Yeah. But there didn't seem to be like a pattern to it whatsoever. It was just like, let's do that one and that one over there and maybe the one around the corner. It wasn't really well organized. So no, not really. It didn't seem nearly as festive as I expected it to be. But then again, it was just the day after Thanksgiving, so maybe they wait a little later. I don't know.
I don't know. Like St. Augustine goes hard, like early November. I expect every city to do it.
Yeah. And St. Augustine's light display is real. It's awesome. But yeah, so we walked around Marion Square, and I pointed out the giant fountain on the corner there with the birds. I pointed out the church on the other end with the windows that look like the eyes and the African mask in the painting. Let's see, what else was there? There was the inscriptions on the short wall around the plants that are from different areas.
The short wall. I think that's called a curb, Bradley.
Was it a curb? It wasn't really a curb. It was like because it wasn't on the roadside, was it? It was on the path side.
Yeah, it's on the path. Oh yeah, I guess. Okay, it's the border.
It's on the walking path side.
It's a short wall.
It's a short wall. It's a tall border, a short wall.
It is a wall for ants.
Yes. So yeah, and then we went to White Point Garden, and after revisiting all three places, White Point Garden still makes the most sense, just with connections that you can make to the verse. We did like that. So I had her walk around and just kind of give me her thoughts without, giving her information. And she pointed out that, the two statues on the Battery end of White Point Gardens, one each has a hand extended. Mm-hmm. So she's like, well, it's probably somewhere like in between those two statues because it's between two arms extended. I was like, well, that makes sense. And I showed her where Josh Gates dug. Somebody left like a ball cap, a sock, and some other random piece of clothing in that area. It was really weird.
It was an homage. It was like an offering to Gates. Like, please call me back. I'll leave you a hat.
The White House close at hand.
I still like those two pillars, man, with the big hole through it that a bar used to be in. It's right between those two. I like
it. A little island.
In the middle of the road. Yeah,
in the middle of the road. It's possible. It's very possible.
It's Laura.
Oh wait. Oh hey. I have I didn't hear you. What's that?
Can you just mention how the White House
and
the White House in Charleston are not?
Why don't you? Come on.
No. She just said it. We can hear. Tell her we can hear her.
Say, they can hear you from where you are. If you just want to say it from right there.
No.
Okay.
Could you repeat yourself?
So I was mentioning to her about the White House close at hand whenever we were in Towne Landing. And so when we were in White Point Gardens, she saw the White House that a lot of people reference. And it's like, yeah, a lot of people think that was like modeled after the White House, but apparently the columns on that house and the columns on the White House are two very different types of columns. What are the names? It's what?
The Greek order. The White House has Ionic.
The White House has Ionic columns, and the ones at the White Point Gardens are Corinthian columns. So they're very different types of columns.
Yeah. So,
but they are neoclassical.
It's another park. I forget the name of the other park that has like, it's a building that was made by the dude who designed the White House or something. But yeah, I mean, I guess like that's just everybody's first impression when they see that house at White Point Gardens. Like, oh, it looks like the White House. All right. It's loose, but it's what they got there.
Yeah, but yeah, after walking all three places, I think White Point Gardens still has my vote.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people have really good ideas for like one thing at another park, or maybe two things, but nothing fits wholly. And then White Point Gardens is like everything's a little loose, but it works. It's like Boston. There was a lot of good stuff in a lot of different places for Boston, but none of it really worked except for right there at that ball field.
Charles Gate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The other end of town.
Let's see. We've got some other comments here. I've been neglecting comments. I apologize. Let's see. Oh, Dan says, hey. Hey, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Dan is the only person that knows what treasure I got from the record store in Charleston.
Oh.
Let's see. Brad posted pictures of the stocks and somewhere. That's not the same stocks unless it's from the other side. Oh, yeah, that's from the other side of the stocks. Yeah, so the wall is behind those. It's a link from Amazon something.
Wait a minute. Why don't we get to know what treasure you got from the record store? Like, why is that a secret?
I mean, it doesn't have to be a secret. It's just Dan is probably the only person that would care, that would give a hoot.
Is it Ozzy? It's Ozzy.
It's Ozzy. Yeah, okay. It was a Black Sabbath reunion limited edition picture disc that was
that's cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I like it. The only thing I don't like about it, and this is totally off topic, nobody else cares.
It doesn't have Dio in it. Yeah, I get it.
Oh, fuck you. You're close though. You're close. It doesn't have Bill Ward. Yeah, it's got Geezer Butler, Tony Iommi, and Ozzy, and no Bill Ward.
Is Bill Ward the guy that Ozzy was like pissed off at and then re-recorded everything without him so he didn't get royalties?
I don't know that story. I think you might be talking about something else. I'm not sure. Maybe. But
I could swear Bill it was Black Sabbath.
So he was pissed with Black Sabbath all together. Now Bill Ward was mad at Black Sabbath for a couple of reasons, but the big FU was whenever they did their most recent reunion tour, and they did not allow him to tour. They said it was for health reasons, but other information kind of points to it was a money battle, and they didn't want to pay him the same as they were paying everybody else.
Gotcha.
So who knows? So, but yeah, that was what it was. It was a Black Sabbath picture disc.
Cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Nothing big.
Finally got my record from New York. Like that one that I posted that was from Seattle. So I had this. Yeah. I went when we went to New York. I was wandering around with Nick and Caroline down near Washington Square, and I found this record store that had this super rare, obscure punk album that nobody's ever heard of and nobody cares about, and it's horrible. It's the most horrible album. It's the band called The Mentors, and the only reason anybody knows who they are is because the lead singer like tried to start a conspiracy that Courtney Love tried to pay him to kill Kurt Cobain. That's the only reason anybody knows who the Mentors are. Anyway, back in the 80s, they self-pressed their own albums, and I found one for sale, and I'd never seen one before. And Caroline bought it for me for Christmas, but I was too paranoid to like put it in my luggage to bring it back, so I just gave it to her, and she was supposed to ship it. Then the two of them came down for Thanksgiving, so they were like, they'll just hand deliver it. And Nick gave it to Caroline to carry on the plane. He's like, here, take care of this album. And they got off the plane in Jacksonville. We went to pick them up, and Caroline like set it down next to a restroom and just walked off and left it.
Oh no.
So it made it all the way to Florida, and she just left it like in a random terminal in the airport. We found like a lost and found thing, and they found it. So I was able to pick it up when I dropped them back off at the airport, but
wow.
It was crazy. Yeah. It was like, yeah, just some obscure album nobody's ever heard of that you could only buy out of the trunk of a dude's car in 1982 in Seattle.
Dang. Well, I'm glad you got it.
Yeah. She was like, I feel really bad. Let's see if we can replace it. So we looked it up online, and the only other copy was in like Denmark.
Oh, yeah. How much did they want for it?
That was like $40, $50.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Not too bad.
That's not too shabby.
So yeah. Anyway, Caroline says she hates me for the story.
David says, cool post today with the Chicago convention letter that you posted. Yeah, that did look a lot of fun. That seems like, and it would have been a very fun game to play at a convention.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know because the figures that they were looking for around the hotel, did they just like put up a drawing of them? Because I don't remember photographs of all of the figures.
No,
So,
those figures. So those four, the prep school, teen spirits, tax burden, and stylist devil, like they put up it seems like from what Joe Ellen has said, that they put them all up, and if you found them, you get to keep them.
That's awesome.
She said she got Teen Angels back, and then she like repurposed it. Like nobody found Teen Angels, so she repurposed it as another doll and sold it later on. And then John Palancar doesn't know where any of his art is. So, but yeah, it's likely that somebody found Prep School, the Stylist Devil, and the Tax Burden, and they were able to just keep them. So they're out there somewhere.
Fun.
Find them on eBay.
I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. One of Joe Ellen's dolls has popped up on eBay once. I missed it by like a day, and it sold for $400 or something.
Yeah, but those are coming from people who know what they have. This is just people at a convention playing a game.
That's true. Yeah. Other publishers.
Yeah, I mean, this is nowhere near as cool, but the company I used to work for, if you were in the top percentage of performers each year, you went to this big convention, and they had something similar where they hid QR codes all throughout the convention area.
Yeah.
And if you could find the QR code and scan it, you got a certain amount of points, and if you got the most points, you won something. So Laura and I were up at like 3 a.m. running around this hotel trying to find these QR codes hidden in places. And we got the most points, and our prize was a load of crap. It was like a selfie. It was like a high-end selfie stick.
Oh,
yeah. I was not. I was excited that we won and we beat everybody because that's just the kind of person I was.
Yeah.
But the prize was crap.
I remember when I was like young, I worked for MSN. But when MSN was a thing, the Microsoft network with dial-up internet and whatever. And one year we had a contest where you won like a launch edition. I want to say it was an Xbox 360. It was like clear green and like had engraved Bill Gates' signature on the side of it or something. I didn't win it, but now those things are like, whoever did win it sitting on a gold mine because they're crazy expensive.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's my only other story like that. I don't have.
Jeff says that we should do the Amazing Race because we make a good team. Have you ever seen that show? It's a great show.
I'm not going to run anywhere, dude.
That's true. We would both lose the athletic the athletic portion.
We could solve the puzzle and shit, but you're going to have to get me like a skateboard or car.
Can we Uber to the top of that mountain?
Exactly. It's like Survivor. Yeah, we could be great on Survivor, except it's outside in the heat and there's no air conditioning and can't order pizza.
No thanks.
Yeah.
David Bowling says they need to order some secret podcast swag for Christmas. Well, go to 12treasures.com and you can find it. Or toilettreasures.com. That's still a website. That'll take you to 12 Treasures as well. Don says, hello from Katy, Texas. Katy, Texas. Hi, Don. Let's see. Let's see, Brad. Oh, that's right. Geocaching. There's a geocache there. I missed the geocache. Dang. Brad posted a geocache that's apparently at those stocks in Charlestown Landing. I hate that I missed that. Let's see. Simon's on. Hey, Simon. Dude, I'm amazed that you're always awake at this time. Bradley was secret bombed?
50's in here.
Mean?
50. Don't be annoying. 50? Yeah.
There's nothing 50 can do to be annoying.
Oh, dude, he like climbs inside of the Christmas trees and he like eats your face now. He's a vicious cat.
He's just vicious with love.
No, he hates everything.
No.
Yes.
You just don't know how to accept the way he loves. That's his love language. Yeah.
You can have him. You want him? Come get 50.
I might. Next time I come visit, I'll see if 50 wants to come home with me. Oh, there he goes. I don't know what Simon means, but he says I was secret bombed.
Secret bombed?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Let's see. Oh, maybe he's talking about when my wife popped up in the background, like photobomb.
Oh,
maybe that's what he's talking about.
Maybe.
Andrew Colin mentions Washington Square in South Carolina, in Charleston. I've heard Washington Square from a few people.
Washington Square is the one that I was talking about with the dude with the building that the dude designed the White House across from it. It's the one with the statue of the two kids holding hands dancing. Mm-hmm. It's that one.
Okay.
JM used to like that. That was the first park he took me to. He was like, first time we went to Charleston, we went on this tour of the park and he was showing, I think he was trying to avoid digging because he knew I would dig a hole if we went to White Point Gardens. So he was like, let me show you all the parks the cask isn't in, and I'll tell you why. And then we'll save White Point Gardens for never.
Right.
Anyway.
Ashley Howell says Marion Square has a literal X marks the spot. Sure, you can't dig there. No. There's not ground. But yeah, it does have a big old X.
Does it not have, isn't it dirt? Marion Square? Is that concrete?
Isn't the walking path covered? Or am I remembering wrong?
Let's go to Google Maps. Screw it. Before we say something we don't mean.
I'm used to being wrong, so that's no big deal for me.
So am I. It's fine. We're allowed to be wrong. It's a puzzle. Everybody's wrong all the time. Yeah, it's dirt.
Okay, well there you go. Just kidding. It's dirt.
I think, unless it's just really weird concrete. Yeah,
it's probably dirt. I'm probably remembering wrong.
It's dirt. It's got barriers. That's probably why you were confused, because it's got those barriers on the side. The tiny walls. And there's absolutely the tiny walls. Exactly. There's no sign of the old statue they tore down whatsoever. You can't even tell it was ever there. Yeah, they did I say they did a good job with that. Somebody's going to yell at me, but they did a good job taking it. Their work, while people agree or disagree with it, was done with skill. That's what I meant.
Yes. Well, it was done very meticulously because of that time capsule situation.
Yeah.
About once they found the time capsule, they were just like, bring in the wrecking ball.
Yeah. Take the rest down.
Caroline says she hates you for telling this story about the record.
That's fine.
With upside down smiley faces.
There's a secret themed geocache in Herman Park. Cool. It's called a cask.
Jeff wants to know if we can talk about Montreal. Oh, no, just kidding. Sunday says Jeff should come on and talk about Montreal.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm open. Go for it.
Jeff, let me know if you want to, and I'll send you the link. We don't ever talk about Montreal. Because what's there to talk about? Did
you see the post I made on Facebook this morning that I tagged Cole in it about Canadians?
Yes, that was hilarious.
So I didn't post to the secret pages. It wasn't really secret related, but there's this video. This dude gets up and he sits down in front of a plate of pancakes. He opens up a bottle of syrup. He pours it on his pancakes. He pours some in his hand. He mixes it up and then he puts it in his hair. And then he grabs his fork and then he reaches over and you think he's gonna grab a knife. He grabs a ice skate and starts cutting his pancakes with the blade on the ice skate on his fork and eating his pancakes. It was pretty funny. But Cole did confirm that is how they do it in Canada, in Canada. Brad asks, so how much do you guys think these other images have bearing on the quest for casks? And I'm guessing by other images, he means like the illustrations in the book, maybe?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think my position has been for a long time that there are confirmers kind of in the images that you can tie things to, but I don't think there are hints that are going to get you anywhere that what the images aren't already going to get you there. Yeah. The actual images, like the 982 and the there's a ton of them. There's so many that are just like little nods to the puzzle from the beginning. But no, I think you can cut the whole back of the half of the book out and you're not losing anything.
I think
the puzzle.
I think people are looking too deep too. Like I remember there was that one time somebody posted, it was the title pages for the book. The dude sitting on the pillar with the fence behind him, And they were like, point out all the clues that you see in this painting or in this drawing. And people were pointing out all kinds of obscure shit. And no one pointed out the one thing that we know is there, right? Like it spells Boston in the hair. That's it. We know that's, a clue. Nobody was able to point it out. They were all like, this V in this matches this V in this park in a random, like, I don't know. People look too deep. They look like they want to get too exact on some things, and it just causes them to, I don't know, go off the radar.
Somebody did draw a cute puppy dog face. That was I think that
was Arthur. Everything cute done is done by Arthur.
So I likened what you said to the idea, like, let's say, there's a couple dating and one thinks the other one's cheating on them. And they're like, should I go through their phone? The answer is no, because you're going to find what you're looking for. Yep. Whether it's actually there or not, you're going to find what you're looking for. It's just the way the human mind works. So, I think it's the same thing with these drawings. People go into it looking for something, and whether it's actually there or not, they're going to find it.
Yeah.
Troy says toilet bowl.
Nice.
No, toilettreasures.com.
Yeah, toilettreasures.com. So I had a spare server that was that had stuff for 12 treasures on it. It had a whole bunch of crap that was stored there, and it died. And somebody finally, like, the big images of the main images, like when you click full view, those were stored there, and the server died. And somebody pointed out to me that the big images didn't work. So if anybody sees anything on 12 treasures is not working, let me know, because I don't know what all was on that server. Just a PSA there. Speaking of toilettreasures.com.
Caroline and I can no longer be associated. She said 50 is a fuck. I wanted to love him.
He is mean, dude. Yeah, it's mean.
Behind you. Jeff says he would love to come on and talk about Montreal sometime, but tonight, unfortunately, is not going to work.
Okay. Whatever. We're here every Sunday.
Let us know when.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Most Sundays. Probably cut tonight short. No 2-hour stream. It's 2 hours. 2 hours is too much, man.
It is too much.
2 hours a week. Ugh. Trying to figure out something to talk about. Oh, we got more comments. Okay. A Christmas secret podcast. Probably not.
I don't think that's happening. No.
Mm-mm. No, that was John's thing. And like, as much as I'd love it to continue, what Chris went to basically all of John's friends, and nobody's willing to do it. Like, it was his thing. Yeah. Holiday special was John's.
Yeah. And there was, so I put up a survey and I said, who do you guys want to be?
Oh yeah, it was you. I'm sorry. It wasn't Chris. My bad.
Well, no, Chris reached out to some people as well, of course. But the number one vote for the survey was John's sidekick and song man and piano player, Evan. And Evan wanted to so bad, but he's got so much going on right now in his personal life. He unfortunately could not make it happen. So yeah, there definitely people wanted to, but it just doesn't look like it's something that's going to be able to happen in the way that it should happen.
Yeah.
So we'd rather it just not happen than be done wrong.
Yeah.
Caroline wants to know if you'll talk about your delicious dinner.
Nobody cares about my dinner. What the fuck?
You showed a pic. Oh, there's my buddy. Hey, Fiddy. Oh my God, look at that. See, he's not vicious. He's not mean.
Excuse me. It's just because I'm holding him down.
No, he's cuddles. Oh.
This cat. No, you can't be up. Okay. Ow. Thanks.
Yeah, no, talk about everything you made, man. You were quite the chef.
I made food. Nobody cares about my food.
You made awesome food. You had a giant turkey.
Nobody cares.
Amazing sides.
Secret people don't care.
Okay.
That was fun. We had like searchers come over. Like Nick and Caroline came over. Cindy Hendry. I don't know how to pronounce anybody's last name. Cindy Hendry. A guy named Mark that I met a couple of times. He came over. So yeah, it was like an open invite basically. If you were in St. Augustine, come on down. We invited Johnny Windex. He didn't show up. He's like, screw you guys. Oh well.
David, yes, there is a Secret Santa gift exchange. It's already been organized this year. We do one every year. We use Elfster. And usually we want you to register by the end of November and by the end of October. And typically the names get drawn early November. So it gives everybody time to go out and shop. So that's already happened. Doesn't mean you can't, send somebody something if you want to. Just reach out to them. But as far as doing the actual Secret Santa thing, the names have already been drawn. Now, I will say, inevitably, we always have, for some reason or another, somebody who has committed to sending a gift that doesn't. So if that happens, typically what we'll do is we'll post that has happened. So look out for those posts because that will give you an opportunity to send something to somebody as well.
Yeah. And also, if you don't send somebody to someone or something to someone and you get a gift, you generally get banned.
Yes.
At least from the gift exchanges. It depends.
Yes.
Like, stuff happens, and we understand that. But, yeah, you're banned from the future gift exchanges.
Yes. If there's a public flogging, and then you get banned from the gift exchanges going forward.
Yeah. Be nice to people.
And the best thing to do is if you can't send something, don't worry about it. Everybody understands. It's no big deal. Yeah, just let us know so that that person can get something from somebody.
Yeah,
it's no big deal. Nobody's going to judge you. Just
Rachel tends to pick up the slack on that. I think she's got 3 Secret Santas this year.
No,
just because like people didn't get gifts last year, and Rachel's like, "Oh, I'll take care of it." So she's got 3.
Yeah. Troy says, what parts of the verses are the most difficult for people to figure out? What are the sticklers? Example, hymn of hard word. Well, I guess it depends on which. I mean, that's a long conversation because it depends on which verse you're talking about.
Yeah.
And who you're talking to, and what their thoughts are. I mean, Phil at home. If you would have asked me before it was found in a ballpark, I would not have said it's a home plate in a baseball field. I would have taken it very literal. So, it just depends on the person.
I mean, with me, it's going to be the exact things, the things that aren't directional. Like if you take Chicago, the hardest line for that verse for me would be the start where M and B is set in stone. Because if I didn't already know the answer to that, I would have no idea. I'd be like the kids back in the 80s, like Rob and Eric, and just be like, well, it's Man and Beast or whatever, but it's actually Mozart and Beethoven. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like L sits left, I could figure out. And to Congress, R is known, I could figure out. But when it's just like 2 letters for 2 names carved on a wall in some obscure building, I don't know.
Well, like in the Roanoke verse, after circle and square, is it the circle and then the square-ish parking lot? Is it the circle and square in the Sunken Gardens? Is it a different circle and square?
Yeah.
Is it a play on words and we're not actually looking for a circle and square? I don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah, but based on the clues before it, that's going to be an exact thing, and it's going to be an important thing. But until you know what that thing is, it could be anything.
Right.
So, yeah, those are the hardest lines to me.
Plot twist: Johnny Windex is an alias for JJP. That comes from Ashley Howell.
That's better than the other theories I've heard about Johnny Windex. I'd rather him be John.
Jordan Munt says, if you could ask Byron one question about if you could ask Byron one question regarding any of the puzzles, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. What would you ask him? You want to go? You want to think about it? What?
If I could ask one question about it,
like now or back then, like if he was alive now, I'd probably be like, "What do you want to say to your kids?" And I'll let him know. That's the one question I'd ask Byron.
Let's see.
It'd be creepy though if you just walk up to the kids and be like, "Hey, your
Yeah.
dad said."
Yeah, that would be.
Your dad said there's money in the banana stand. Sorry, it's a bad joke.
Oh God. The banana stand? What the fuck?
Oh, you never watched that show? Okay, never mind.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I think I would ask him, is there like a key that can be applied to solving all of the puzzles? Like, is there one key that could be applied to solving all of the puzzles? That's what I would probably ask him.
That's a loaded question, though.
Because I would just want to know, are they really just like each one is solved completely differently and they're not really related, or is there really some connected way to solve all 12 puzzles?
Well, like I think we look at them in such under such a microscope that we think like we think subtle little differences mean the puzzles work completely differently when they're not. Like in each of them, the painting gives you kind of a city, the verse narrows down a dig location. They all kind of, in a broad general sense of the way puzzles work, they all work the same. They work that way. But like the difference between path puzzles and barrier or boundary puzzles or whatever, the different ways people work each individual cities, that's the details. That just because those are different doesn't necessarily mean the puzzle in general works different. Does that make sense? Am I just being confusing right now?
I'm just going to reread the question because if you could ask Byron one question. Yeah,
okay,
I didn't say ask George.
Well, I'm just saying like I'm channeling right now.
Stop trying to answer my question, George.
Sorry,
no, it does make sense what you're saying. And you're right. There's obviously a structure to the month, the stone, the time, etc. There's a structure to that, but none of us have been able to apply how does that structure help you solve the puzzle?
Yeah.
Other than the fair folk that it attaches to via the whatever the section of the book is called. And that kind of gives you the group, so you kind of know which immigration group you're looking for a linkage to, which kind of helps you. So in that way, yes, it helps you solve the puzzles because we now know for sure, wherever the spot is, it has. Oh, God, I'm glad I said that. So Charlestown Landing, get this. So here's another point for Charlestown Landing. So we've all been thinking about like how does the African immigration work, whether it was willing or not, for Charleston? Well, Charlestown Landing had the first, according to the placards that we were reading, had the first African American colony-ish. They're living with other groups there.
Wait, I thought the lady in Roanoke said that was in Roanoke.
That was also in Roanoke, but
the first one, like there,
yeah,
or not the first one in like America, because I can't imagine. I can't to be like getting a little controversial, but I can't imagine South Carolina was like free slaves, free the slaves, put them over there.
And it wasn't that they were free per se, but they lived more in a colony situation rather than on a plantation sort of situation.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was just very interesting how it was worded in the plaques that caught my eye.
It at least had that immigration connection because so much in Charleston.
Yes, right. So that is a point on the board for White Point for Charlestown Landing.
Gotcha. To answer the Byron question, I think I would ask him like, how much of this puzzle is as a whole, like all 12 cities, did you have planned and completed before you put the first cask in the ground? Like, I'd want to know if he did them one at a time. I'd want to know if like everything was all worked out before and then the casks were put in the ground. I'd want to know like were the paintings done? Like all of this stuff, because that would tell us a lot about the puzzle and how the puzzle was created. Because if Byron was like, none of it, you know,
Right.
there's no real.
That's true. That's a great question. Because I get the feeling that Chicago was somewhat on the fly.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it's so simple. The verse is so simple. Like he just jotted down notes as he walked to the place.
Yep.
And then buried it real quick and went back to the convention. I don't know. That's how that one strikes me now that I know more information.
Yeah. That was an interesting thing last week when you came up to that convention. That opened some doors.
Well, I came up with the Comic-Con, and then some other members researched more and said, "Hey, there's the book convention was there."
Yeah.
So it could have been either one. Should we I think we have figured out concretely that they met at the book convention that was there.
Yeah.
And then whether or not they then also went on a date when the comic convention was there, we don't know. We don't know if they went on a date later while the book convention was still going on. From the stories I've heard, it seems like they're a little farther along in the relationship than a first or second date.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I get.
I don't know. Like, so the weird thing is that the only reason we know about this whole date thing was because of that interview with Sandy. Now it had been a story before that interview with Sandy, but like, if we're being honest, it probably was a story because like James Renner just told the inner circle when it was being filmed. Right.
Right.
So, but there's a cut in the middle of that interview. Like she says some stuff that's cut out. Like probably like where that date, she probably elaborates. It seems like it's at a point where she's like, this is where the date was. And that was cut out. So I'd love to see what she actually said. Like whether, are we working with all of, like not all of the information, but are we making assumptions when we shouldn't be about the location, you know? Because we've always assumed it was in San Francisco, but you know, realistically that's not really possible given the information.
Hashtag Renner release the footage.
Yeah, he's not going to do that. I really would like to get James Renner on to just talk about that whole process, because he got, like, love him or hate him, and I'm finding out a lot of the stuff that I've disliked him for is not true. It was like stories from people who had an axe to grind that I just kind of went with. But I would love to get him and like sit him down and have him tell the story of that documentary, because he got screwed. He got screwed hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he screwed some other people too, but in the context of just that documentary, he got screwed.
You're talking about the ability to release it, right?
Yeah, the ability to release it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, I mean, I at least think it's fair for people to know why that documentary is not out. Yes.
And it would be great to hear it from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. David wants to know if we would like to do instead of doing a Christmas stream, do a New Orleans trip to during Christmas and walk around Lafayette Square during Christmas. George says no.
Man, I like family. Why is Michael Page spamming like plus, minus, and apostrophes?
I don't know.
Huh. Maybe there was something he didn't want us to see. Let's go look at it. He was quoted as saying, BB was quoted as having said that logic is used in determining the cast locations and there is an interlocking set of patterns. Do you think we're any closer to discovering a pattern? Well, there's a lot of patterns. Like, you're forgetting that there's a lot of patterns we've already discovered. You know, we've already discovered the month. We've already discovered the month, the time, the gem, whatever. We've already discovered the latitude and longitude. We've already discovered prominent buildings. We've kind of discovered the city nicknames. I mean, I'm not going to say that's a confirmed thing, but it seems to go with most of the puzzles.
Definitely.
We've confirmed a lot of patterns. Now, the question is, does it go deeper than that, or is that what we're supposed to know? Are there more? Not have we discovered a pattern, because we have. The question is, are there more to be discovered? And there probably are. We're just sort of overlooking them.
We're also dealing with one of the creators is a great guy and a hell of a jokester. And so he likes to screw with us and everybody else and drop things and we don't know if he's telling the truth or not, or if he's just screwing with us. For instance, JJP once said there's something there right in your face, and you guys aren't seeing it, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
He's like, there's something. It's right in everybody's face, and nobody's seeing it. Is he actually saying something, or is he just egging us on, like he did with EU guy, Josh Gates? Who knows? That doesn't help at all.
Even to go further than that, like it's weird because a lot of the stuff that John has said over the years to people, to searchers, or to us even, has been wrong, right? Like he said, there's no cask in Boston. You remember once at that dinner, he was like, "There's something the bubbles in Boston, like the number of bubbles in the Boston painting is important," and it's just fucking not.
Was it the number of bubbles in the Boston painting, or was it the number of bubbles in?
It was in the Boston painting. Because we were talking about
I remember him saying bubbles are important, but I don't remember him saying the number of bubbles in the Boston painting.
It was the number of bubbles, because we were talking about that one painting, that Pandora's Box painting, that Boston looks like. And I really like. I think something we didn't know back then was like if you press him on the secret, he just lies to you. Because that was it. I brought up that stupid other Pandora's Box painting. And he was like, "Oh yeah, just the number of bubbles are important, or whatever." Yeah. But it's not. Like, I don't know. Anyway, sorry for the tangent there.
Don says, "What suspected cask location cities have not had a meetup, and which one would be next?" So to answer that question, we are not going to organize or fund any further meetings. Doesn't mean we won't attend any that somebody else sets up, or the community sets up. We may or may not, but we kind of feel like we hit a pinnacle with the New York meetup, with Ben Asen being there, with Andy Abrams being there. And it really felt like we can't top that. We can't do better than we did. And the logistics behind it. We don't do this as a business. We do this for fun. And we don't make money off of it. And any money that is made is put right back into it. The website's not free. The cost for the Zoom account each month is not free. The equipment's not free. There's a lot of cost that goes into this. The 12treasures.com server is not free. So we don't bring in any money that's going into our pockets. So when we do stuff like that, we either have to raise money to do it, which people were incredibly generous for the New York meetup. And that's the only reason that even happened. It was financially feasible because of that generosity. But on the flip side of the generosity, it's not publicly known to everybody, but we got some hate from several individuals that were mad about things that were way out of our control. And so it's a lot on us, especially George and Rachel, because they do most of the organizing for the meetups. But it's a lot on everybody involved to put those together. So while we enjoy them and we enjoy hanging out with everybody and we enjoy meeting people, and it's a wonderful experience for all involved at the meetup. The logistics of making it happen has just become too much. So we don't plan on organizing anymore, but that's not to say that we will not support other ones happening. If somebody wants one to happen in their city, put it together. One just happened in Montreal not too long ago, or close to Montreal.
There's only one caveat to that. Since we started meetups, there's one thing I've wanted to do, and that's put John Palancar in the Greek Cultural Gardens with the Cleveland painting. And I've begged and begged and begged for this to happen. And if I can ever make that happen, we will do a meetup. If that doesn't happen, then I won't organize one. That's the only way. We will go and only talk about Cleveland.
But to answer the other half of your question, the only places that we have done one so far that we have organized are St. Augustine, San Francisco, New Orleans, and New York. Yeah. And we've done a small impromptu one in Charleston. Yeah. Those are the only ones I can think of.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we did it wasn't even a meetup in Houston. It was just like 7 people that I didn't even organize it. So it's not ours. It was Matt's thing. So I guess technically it's a podcast thing, but he just invited people he wanted to invite.
Right.
So
Yeah, it wasn't like anybody who wants to come sort of situation. So those are the only places where they have happened. So if anybody anywhere else ever wants to do one, it doesn't have to be huge. Yeah. I mean, just people will get together and it'll be fun. Just do it and be careful doing it.
Yeah. That's my thing. Like, we're not overlords. Like, you don't need our permission or whatever. We don't have to do it. If you want to have a meetup in your city, have a meetup in your city. Yeah. Sweet.
Absolutely.
I'll help you as much as I can.
Jordan says, so like how people used to email him. I feel like that would have made more sense 14 minutes ago if I knew when we were talking about when you said that. Arrested Development reference for the win. I'm guessing that's the banana cart.
She's probably talking about John lying to people. Yes. How like people used to email him and he would just make some shit.
Oh, yes. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is Arrested Development where your banana cart comment came from?
Banana stand? Yeah. It's like
that was Ashley Howell called that.
Yeah. It's like the biggest thing in Arrested Development. There's always money in the banana stand. And then the banana stand catches on fire and the dude's like, I hid $47,000 in the walls. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, sorry.
Watch Arrested Development.
Okay. I'll try and find it. What is it on, like?
I'm sure it's somewhere. I'll put it on
Plex. Netflix's.
I'll put it on Plex.
Simon says, are any of the searchers out there like the characters in Arrested Development? I have no idea. I don't know.
I'm not going there. Yes, but I will not elaborate.
Let's see. Okay. Thank you, Caroline. I'm going to guess you're talking about me. She said, that's a really good question. I don't know which question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was yours. I was probably like, are there any more meetups? That's an awesome question. No.
RTTYUOP open bracket, close bracket, / says Michael Page.
I really think like he just stuck his phone in his pocket. He's going to come back and be like, sorry, dude, my bad. Or there was something really important up there he didn't want us to see.
Oh, there's a lot going here. Wow, yeah. Look at that. Cat walking on keyboard. Lincoln comes up too much for it not to be segregation of the immigrants.
Lincoln is everywhere.
Lincoln, almost, but yes.
It's like Mark Twain. You can find something about Mark Twain just about in just about any major city.
Oh, right? I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Lincoln is everywhere. Lincoln, like there's statues of Lincoln everywhere. It's almost impossible to not have a Lincoln reference in a city somewhere. So is Lincoln there because it's important to some overarching structure, or is Lincoln there because Lincoln's everywhere? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I mean, he's got a point. Like Lincoln's in San Francisco, Lincoln's in like Milwaukee, Lincoln's in a lot of these puzzles, but also like Lincoln Highway is a major road through a bunch of these cities. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Never mind.
No, it makes sense. Caroline is sick of you, George Ward. She says this weekend was exhausting.
Oh, thank you.
What cast do you think will be found next? That question gets asked a lot.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the one in Roanoke Island. We've got some contacts to reach out to see if we can make something happen soon. But I hear some strong ideas. I don't hear the ideas themselves, but I hear some confidence coming from San Francisco. So maybe there. Who knows? But
Roanoke Island's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That should be coming up soon, right?
Yeah. We need to send an email.
Yeah.
Jeff says, do you think that if the parks dug up a cask during renovations, they may have a record of it, like a report of finding something that's not supposed to be there? And would they tell us if we asked?
I think that depends on the park.
Yeah. Like if it happened.
If it happened in White Point Gardens, yeah. If it happened in the Fountain of Youth, yeah. If it happened in some random park, and no.
Yeah.
If it happens in a historical place.
Yeah, yes. If it happens absolutely. But at Pupilo Park, if they would not have been put on red alert and they hit that, it would have just gone in the waste pile. And that would have been that, and we would have never known.
In St. Augustine, when they're digging, they analyze rocks, right? Like they analyze all the little pebbles that they dig out of the ground. So anything they find will be cataloged. Same with Charleston in a lot of the historic places, especially in White Point Garden. But not all of them. Like if you were to dig up, if the dude that maintains the park that's down the road from my house were to dig something up, he's just going to throw it away.
Right.
Yeah.
Cole says some impressive new work being done in Montreal.
Good.
Yeah. I am. So the other gentlemen, I haven't seen a new podcast drop in a while. And I was really enjoying their show, especially what they had to say about Montreal. So hopefully they'll get together something and talk more about Montreal, because I really enjoyed what they were doing there. Jeff says Montreal will be found next. Maybe. It'd be cool. Yeah. It would be cool if it was found in St. Louis, but who knows?
That's what I hope. The next cast that's found, I hope it's one in Chicago. Because you remember all those guys that were like, Rob's lying and Brian was wrong, and none of those casts are real.
Oh yeah.
And I really hope that turns out to be true. Like everybody was just wrong, and really the key was tied to a tree or whatever. I remember there was that one guy with the theory years ago that like the key was tied to a fence post somewhere, and I hope those true. I
vaguely remember what you're talking about, but yeah, no, there definitely have been. There's been more than one person. It's like, yeah, the ones that were found weren't actually found. They were just publicity stunts to get the books sold. They're still out there. I know where they are.
Yeah.
But not to cut things short, but my grocery store has started closing at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And I need to go grocery shopping for the work week.
So we are ending Sunday Fun Day. Thanks everybody for a fun time. Thanks Bradley for joining us.
Of course.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.